Deep underground, miles below the surface of their far-flung planet, the blind folk from CM Kosemen's All Tomorrows live in complete darkness. Their story begins, as with all of the post-humans, with an invasion by the Q. The blind folk were star people once, who originated on Earth and Mars, but had managed to colonize much of the Milky Way. The Q, an alien race hell-bent on genetically modifying all life within the universe to their liking, made their way through all of the Star People's worlds, changing them. On one world, the Star People had made their way underground in an effort to evade the Q and hopefully go unnoticed. It didn't work, however. The Q located them with ease and modified them into barely recognizable forms. Having found them hiding underground, the Q decided to remake them in such a way so that they could remain underground permanently. It would seem that the Q had a dark sense of humour, if you'll pardon the pun. After the Q disappeared, the underground environments, the shelters, would no longer be maintained, and nature would take over once again. A steady trickle of water and a flow of nutrients from above would sustain the bizarre lifeforms below. The kilometre-high ceilings would glow with bioluminescent fungi, and a number of animals would emerge. Crocodilian fish, distorted birds, and giant pale insects would evolve from the household pets of the Star People. And that's not to mention the Star People themselves and what they now looked like. As their name would suggest, they had been remade into a new being that did not possess the power of sight. There was no need for it underground. Instead, these strange post-humans would use echolocation to find their way around. This took the form of banshee-like screams, which echoed and bounced around in the cold darkness. Their skin is extremely pale, as it would never see the sun above. They had developed long tactile fingers to feel their way around in the blackness. Their ears were now huge and rodent-like, and they had also developed long whiskers, also useful for a life underground. In the image presented, we can see an adult male member of the blind folk, along with his young daughter. He knows to stay still to confuse predators who possess sonar capabilities, but his young daughter throws her arms up in terror at the presence of an unfamiliar being. While the blind folk had every incentive to evolve and eventually leave their underground homes in order to conquer the surface world and eventually the stars, like their cousins on other worlds, they would never make it out of their subterranean environment. The glacial constriction of their world's continental plates would mean that, one by one, the blind folks' shelters would be crushed, resulting in their extinction.